So here we are, game number 3 of this best of 3. Spawning up to the top right hand position of King Sejong Station, we've got the blue Protoss player. Representing Mouse Sports, it's HasuObs. Down to the lower right, the red Terran player representing ESC. None other than GoOdy. GoOdy really doing a good job overall of just preventing too much damage being done. And I gotta say, all this damage is coming through, it's gonna be very, very strong for him. All while he's going for this harassment heavy style, preventing a big engagement with GoOdy, HasuObs is gonna come up on top. That was really what won him game number 2, was the big engagement would have gone completely different if HasuObs tried to move into those tanks siege. It's because he had an observer over GoOdy's army. He saw the tanks on siege, he was nearby and was just like, fight, let's go for it now. And he won. He won convincingly there. From that point, it would have taken an absolute miracle for GoOdy to come back. It really would have done. So, overall, this is a really good position, I'd say, for HasuObs, knowing that he can rely on that. Especially when in game number 1, I would argue it was more HasuObs being overconfident. Not expecting that many Banshee to be there. And if the Banshee weren't there, I'm pretty confident in saying HasuObs would have been able to take the fight that he opted for. But game number 3, I'd imagine both of these two will start looking to be a bit more careful. They want to be up in the winner's game. That, of course, gives them 2 chances, even if they lose that winner's game. Otherwise, these two, whoever wins, facing off against Hero Marines. So if GoOdy wins, it's a TVT. If HasuObs wins, he gets another TVP. Loser faces off against Golden, of course, the Alien Invasion Zerg player. Hero Marine beat him in the first series of the night, so very, very tough. Still trying to keep a good check on any kind of fluctuations in build, anything crazy going on. But GoOdy going for just that one Reaper yet again. This isn't too crazy. He did this in game 1, if you recall. Up at HasuObs' side, he's just going for the same build he's done every game so far. 1 gate, 1 gas, 1 cybernetics core. He's very comfortable with this. It means he gets the mothership core out sooner. He can get a stalker out. He always seems to skip the zealot. I'm not sure if he's going to do that this game. Yeah, he does. Cancels it out. So just in case he saw anything scary coming through. It allows him to get this natural down a lot quicker by cancelling the zealot. Mothership core now on its way. Should be able to stop the Reaper from doing too much. With the Chrono Boost coming down on that Mothership core as well, of course, the Reaper is going to do damage a heck of a lot later. So that really does allow things to smooth through. Quick bounce up. Gets a little look up into the main base. Going to start poking and prodding through, but the Mothership core says no. Mothership cores really don't like probes getting hurt. They're overprotective. Imagine if your mum had a laser. Would she shoot a nasty Reaper coming to try and kill you? Mine would. That doesn't actually make sense. I think most mothers, if they had a laser, would try and stop a crazy guy with a jetpack and 2 pistols shooting at their children. I'd hope they would anyway. Anyway, Mothership core now patrolling nicely. GoOdy, he's going up to a quick 3rd CC, and again, this was really early. This was... When was this? This was like 4 minutes 44, 4 minutes 43 it came down at. So quickly, so greedy. And it's fine if HasuObs doesn't try to get aggressive. If HasuObs go for a 2-base play, a hard-hitting, fast 2-base play will be tough. But every game so far, HasuObs did open this way and then went into a robotics facility. So he went for some tech off the back of this rather than additional gateways. Gonna be curious to see if he does do the same thing again, because it would be really nice if he does opt for that. But it'd also be quite cool to see some variation, because the one danger is getting consistent and getting complacent in your build. But looks like HasuObs happy for it. He wants those Immortals out early, up against Grubby, who every game, every game will get a lot of tanks. Hey, at least he knows what he's dealing with, and that's the sort of thing. GoOdy, while his playstyle can be very frustrating to many people, in the way that it's just so slow, so passive, all about getting to the late game, what's actually important is that it's consistent. GoOdy will always be able to get into those same spots and be in a good position there. And you've just got to kind of wait him out. And we saw HasuObs try and actually force him into a different situation in game 1, and it didn't work out for him because GoOdy has been hit. The fact that GoOdy always wants to get to that late game, get to that maxed out mech army, basically screams to anyone who plays him, I want to kill GoOdy before that point. I don't want to get that far through the game. And so, because of that, GoOdy always knows all the different ways that someone could try and kill him before there, because that's what he's used to having to deal with. It's very much the same as if you look at some very macro-orientated Zergs. And I'm talking Zergs who only ever macro up, won't go for a 9-pull no matter what. They're the same. If you try and hit them with Immortal Sentries, if you try and hit them with, say, 4 gates for Zealots off of 2 bases, anything like that, they've had to combat that time and time again, especially if they've got a reputation as being a macro-orientated Zerg. They know where their comfort zone lays. It's in the end game. And so players like GoOdy, any macro-orientated player, wants to get to that step, and they know all the obstacles to get there. So far this game, HasuObs just really opening the same as before. It's an identical build to at least what he did in game number 1. I suspect it's identical to what he did in game number 2 as well. Gives him an earlier upgrade, gives him a lot of Immortals out quickly, sacrifices a couple of Gateway units early on, so he's really banking on the fact that GoOdy is going to be GoOdy and not try and rush him or do too much damage early. A couple of additional factories are coming through now as well here for GoOdy, so he's just adding those through. Going to be getting an old switcheroo. Quite a Hellion heavy style overall from GoOdy, and because of that, obviously the armory is going to be important, but more importantly the upgrades need to be on par for GoOdy. Last game I'd say that was actually probably one of the biggest factors, is that HasuObs was sitting at 3 attack, 1 shields before GoOdy was even at 1-1. It's just crazy to get to that sort of position and not have a solid response. Checking around now on what else is coming on through. Quick little look from these Hellions at the moment. Little poke up here towards the Nexus. The Nexus just going to be keeping a good hard look, or the Nexus is going to be taking, the Hellion going to be taking a good hard look. Sees the third base coming down from HasuObs. GoOdy isn't going to be too concerned about that because his is finished. It's been up since, well, it got started like 4:43, so it's still there, it's still waiting, it's still ready. So that's already produced a lot of SCVs. GoOdy is only 2 SCVs down, but when we factor in that there's been 3 mules, economically speaking, GoOdy is in a better footing there. He's on a strong base to really start producing that tank count up. We do only have the 1 starport. Oh no, take that back. 3 starports are now finished up, so GoOdy going to be going into probably the triple Banshee production. He's had so much success with that leading in to this series, and just really probably been his best hope overall. I'm not surprised to see him doing that. HasuObs is getting a much earlier Templar archives down this game. Also adding in 4 additional gates as well as that +2. And yet again, in a repeat of the previous games this series, the upgrades for GoOdy are quite a long way back. +2 will be finished for HasuObs before +1 is finished for GoOdy, as long as the chrono boosts keep getting spent. Storm coming down, so that actually may take priority on those chrono boosts from the 3 Nexus. Just trying to get that down ASAP. It's very powerful up against the Hellbat/Hellion heavy composition GoOdy's been going for. It's also great against those tanks. Once they're sieged up, if you land a good storm, all of the damage is going to go down on them. And there's very little that a Terran player can do to try and stop it. Now, I'm trying to keep an eye on everything that these two are attempting to do. We've got, of course, a lot of additional factories coming through. These 3 starports pumping out Banshee left, right, and center. +1. Also on its way. Of course, that's a long way off. Chrono boosts are still being spent, so it's going to be a close tie here between this +2 and +1 coming down. But regardless, it's a solid upgrade lead here for HasuObs, and he's going to be trying to utilize that if he's aware of it, and if he actually wants to risk it, because as we saw in game 1, when HasuObs did get a bit more aggressive early on, GoOdy was able to force it away and then counterattack for the win. Whereas last game, it was a much longer game, arguably less comfortable for GoOdy, less comfortable for HasuObs, because it went on so long. But what HasuObs' plan was just, okay, I know you want to wait till the late game, so I'm happy with that. I'm also quite confident that at some point you'll slip up, you'll make a mistake, and when that happens, I'll be ready to strike. And that's exactly what HasuObs did in map number 2, and that's what got him the win. Got Blink coming down now as well for HasuObs. He did get that +2 before GoOdy finishes +1, so over a whole upgrade ahead. Be good to see for HasuObs he continue on those upgrades, keep them looking steady and well refined. Little engagement coming down in the center. A few storms are going to dish out some nice damage. This is hitting a lot of Marines, a decent amount of the mech. Few Banshee also on their way. HasuObs a little out of position overall. Backs out. Going to sacrifice an Archon to make sure the escape can come on through. Overall, GoOdy up in supply, 109 to 62. Still chasing this forward. Still looking for any more damage that he can do. May continue to push forward. The danger, of course, is that, well, GoOdy just waiting down on this low ground. It's going to be more challenging for him to push up. There's a good number of photon cannons about, just to make sure these Banshee can't have as much fun as they did in the last game. GoOdy, he's got Cloak coming through. He doesn't actually have much more in the way of Banshee production. Okay, another one coming through now. He is supply blocked. That's what's delaying it. So it'd be good to get another supply depot just to reach that 200 of 200. Not there yet. HasuObs adding in the Dark Shrine, so he's going to be looking for a couple of those Dark Templar again. And they have worked out pretty nicely for him. Little edge forward. Waiting to see if we do get this to go through. First few shots hitting their mark, and the Immortals, they soak up quite a bit of it, but so do the Stalkers. The Banshee now moving forward. GoOdy's in a very nice siege position here. Notice the spread on the tanks, and the Banshee completely isolated from the rest of that army. A couple of Stalkers warping in defensively, but the siege tank's going to be able to quickly dispatch of them, allowing the Banshee to move forward. There's 9 of them on the field. HasuObs trying to find an avenue to attack, a flank to move in onto those tanks, but not finding any success there yet. He's taking a heck of a lot of damage to all of this natural base, and if the natural falls at this stage of the game, along with the third, it will be so difficult for HasuObs. Banshee still dishing out the damage, not actually focusing any of those photon cannons, so all 3 of them stay up. Meanwhile, HasuObs, he's already lost 40 workers. That really starts to hurt him. Banshee have all been taken out, actually. That was really, really good. So the natural base does stay up. The third is going to get taken down in exchange for a couple of Hellbats. That's an alright trade, but still GoOdy, he's up in army supply. 99 to 84. Overall supplies, this is still massively favouring GoOdy, but that looks a lot worse just because of how many workers have died. Unfortunately for HasuObs, GoOdy is now attempting to secure up his 4th. And if he gets that 4th a lot sooner, well, he's already got it. If he can keep this 4th, HasuObs is down economically by a lot. And he's really not going to want to be that far down. He needs to make sure he's resupplying that army pronto. And GoOdy's just happy to sit back now. He's really nearly remaxed. He may even start moving forward and going for this. He's only got the +1 attack, remember. But HasuObs never started +3. Being a bit distracted by this move out. Needing every bit of money in order to build more units, more defensive forces. I like the fact that we do have a Dark Templar, or a couple of DTs out on the field. Just trying to get some harassment through. GoOdy, though, staying on top of things. He's also discovered this base to the left. Has left himself somewhat exposed over on the right-hand side. And, okay, HasuObs, he's moving around, but GoOdy should be able to see this. He's got, obviously, the Center Tower in a great position. Has a couple of tanks already trying to get in position. Sieging him up, waiting for all of this to come through. Quick little blink forward, though. The majority of the army from GoOdy isn't here yet. HasuObs is able to get some nice damage through. A couple of those High Templar full on energy, but too far away to start the storming. A couple more workers killed, but overall GoOdy is going to be happy with that defense. But can he get back towards this 4th base? Sure, it's got a planetary there. But the move back and forth is really where HasuObs believes his best chance for success is keep bouncing between these 2 bases. Of course, for GoOdy, it's being able to see the units with the Center Tower. The Center Tower really is critical to know to react to that. Got a little move in now. Couple of DTs, couple of Zealots. I don't think the DT can actually be seen from there. No, okay, GoOdy can just see it there. That's good for him. GoOdy's also going in with a little hit squad of these Hellbats, with a Banshee aiding them as well. 4th Nexus not going to last too long, but this opens up the natural base of GoOdy to Hasu. Hasu looking to start moving in, decides against it upon hearing the tank shell come through, but he's lost his 4th for it. HasuObs is still in an ouchy place. Ouchy place, of course, is like I'm describing this to a 4-year-old, but that's probably how GoOdy feels. Oh, sorry, how HasuObs feels, because he's down by a decent chunk of army supplies. 138 to 93. He's now taking more probe damage. And with the positioning of his army, I doubt he's going to get any of these probes out. Unless, even if he runs them, the Hellions can still kill it. He's having to wait for the warpins. But a lot of damage already been done. 62 probes have died this game. No, warping up a few zealots will be able to kill a tank. But all the zealots die in the process. Still, safely, steadily, plodding on. GoOdy, approaching maxed yet again. Has got the +1 vehicle and ship plating upgrade coming through. Meanwhile, HasuObs still hasn't continued on any further upgrades. He's just completely broke on the mineral front. All of his money spent on producing more units. If we look at the resources lost, this is why HasuObs is so broken down in supply. His economy is worse than that of GoOdy's. GoOdy's at 4 bases, Hasu's at 3, and HasuObs has also lost about 4,200 more resources. Move forward here, a couple of storms coming through. They're defensive storms though, not actually up against the tanks. Tank siege up, get a couple of shots through. One lone Dark Templar going to be moving forward. GoOdy of course can't see this because he doesn't have the detection yet, but boom, there it is. High little DT. Taking a few shots. Meanwhile, GoOdy advancing on forward. He wants to try and get this third if he can. He's already attacking with a couple more Hellions. 73 probes have so far died this game, and that really starts hurting things. Oh, a few High Templar getting sacrificed. Not the greatest units to sacrifice on their lonesome. And GoOdy starts edging closer again, getting this position where he's able to isolate the third. HasuObs deciding, okay, I can't engage that army head on, so I'll just try and base race. Coming around the back. GoOdy, with a couple of units, sees this army moving out of position. I'm surprised he hasn't used left just a couple of units in order to deal with this. Okay, so he has. Unfortunately, a DT is going to work away at the Hellions, but the Banshee's still getting a few nice shots off. All the while, HasuObs has been able to clean out a nice bit of damage. Got GoOdy down to 48 SCVs, but actually GoOdy's going to be happy about that because GoOdy can now free up a lot more supply to get out a heck of a lot more mech. And considering GoOdy's got a big bank, 5,000, 3,000 minerals gas, he's actually alright. A couple of Banshee are going to get taken down. Are they going to get the third? It's going to be pretty close. If they get it, it's huge. They are. That is a massive takedown. HasuObs is now really in a dire position. Like, really, really dire. His natural base is nearly mined out. He's remaking that third. That means he's pretty much broke. Army supply is 150 to 50 in GoOdy's favor. GoOdy adding in some more command centers now. He's still on these 4 bases. His natural still does have some resources, although he hasn't landed yet. His third is still looking pretty okay. It's getting a bit low. Couple of zealots trying to kill some blue flame Hellions. That's not going to work out that nicely. Still the shots keep coming through. Still the damage coming on out. Waiting to see if and when HasuObs tries to get some counter damage through, because he knows he needs to. Still checking to see where else we get any more trades. Any kind of favorable cost-effective trade is going to be ideal for HasuObs at the moment because he's down on his economy, but also down overall in terms of his income. That's what starts to get a lot more painful for him. I also love the fact that GoOdy is continuing on with his harassment. Oh, a lot of probes going to meet a barbecue right now. Slowly getting taken down. 29 probes remain. 90 probes have died this game. We should take a minute just to think of how many probes that is. Wow. Very, very effective mineral line harassment. And now GoOdy, he senses blood. He senses that he's in a very strong spot overall this game. And is just continuing to move on and continuing to edge forward. Try and get the damage down as best he can. Not doing too much yet. But again, getting into this strong position where he's going to be trying to isolate that third. Oh, a lot of probes here. Evacuating. HasuObs trying to decide, do I try and save that third? Do I try and engage the army? In this position GoOdy's in, engaging that army would just flat out be suicide. GoOdy knows he's in a very good spot. They're already starting to move up. HasuObs, if he tries to base trade, he's got to go across the map first. He does have lots of probes here, there, and everywhere, though. Buys him a bit of time, but the third base now down. GoOdy should be able to pull back and take the fight head on. May kill off the natural base just to really affirm his status as being safe. There's not enough minerals in the bank for HasuObs to actually build a nexus. Quick repair coming down on the planetary. Not going to be enough. Those immortals dishing out a lot of damage, but good on with the Banshee coming over. Trying to take down these High Templar. The Storms, though, dealing their work. And GoOdy pulling back. He loses his 4th base. He's still got 2 additional command centers not floated anywhere as of yet, though, so he can replace it. And also, he's just completely ransacked the economy of HasuObs. The tank slowly chasing on down. Are there any storms left? A couple, it would seem. Although that may have been the last one. The Immortals now trying to trade up against these tanks, but the numbers favor GoOdy massively. This is game 3, of course, so HasuObs may as well give it the best shot he can. But his army supply is under half that of GoOdy. GoOdy lost his natural base. Probably just going to be looking to float some of these bases down and just utilize the mules. Already off he goes on a little adventure. HasuObs now is only got long-range mining as an option. And then he still needs another 50 minutes to build a Nexus. That's going to take a heck of a long time for him. But even if he gets another Nexus down, he's not going to be producing units for what seems like ages. He's not even going for another Nexus. He just wants to try and end this one way or the other. GoOdy, though. Should see these Stalkers coming in. The Stalkers are +2. The Immortals are going to dish out a lot of damage, so the command center will die. Unfortunately for HasuObs, GoOdy does have spares as they start floating across now. Still, interesting spot to be sitting in. HasuObs knows that he has to do the most insanely cost-effective trading imaginable if he wants to try and take this game now. And he has actually been able to really rack up the damage done to level out. It's only 1,500 resources different lost, but the difference is on the income. Even though GoOdy's fractionally mining a couple of mineral patches, even before this base is up and running, GoOdy's just got such a higher income. And there's still no sign of another attempt at a Nexus from HasuObs. He's just let himself sit back and go, okay, I'm going to produce nothing but units and hope it'll be enough. GoOdy isn't so... Well, okay, GoOdy is a long way ahead. But still, doesn't want to be sacrificing those Hellions if he can avoid it. Wants to ideally keep them alive. It would be best if he could. Still though, few couple bits of movement on their way up, waiting to see where they decide to go. Okay, we do have a third now coming through. We're at 31.5 minutes now, so this third base is very, very late. There's still no natural, still long-range mining from there with 27 probes. GoOdy just trying to find any additional pylons around the map, just pick them apart. HasuObs holding the watchtowers, trying to get any information he can about this. I'm surprised GoOdy isn't trying to trade, because GoOdy is massively ahead. He's over 100 army supply up. I just don't... I think GoOdy could actually A-move at this stage, because... Okay, there are 4 High Templar. Where are they? If they engage, maybe not. Couple of shots coming through. Banshee, every time they pick off an Immortal, it's a massive win. There's detection now. An Observer coming forward, but an Immortal dies. That takes the count to only 4 now. 4 Immortals is a lot lower than would ideally be down at this stage. Still, waiting to see if we get GoOdy advance finally. Looks like he's going to be going for this. GoOdy's in a very, very nice spot at the moment. Still creeping forward, getting a couple more shots down. Recall coming down from HasuObs back into his main base. This is all but over now. GoOdy is over 100 supply up in the army alone. The tanks sieging up on that low ground. Recall back to this third so they're not trapped in terms of army, but look at the tank count. It's just crazy. HasuObs still just running about, still just waiting at the moment. Gonna lose his third Nexus yet again. He has basically no gas and no assimilators to mine it from. Can't afford to make another assimilator, but that will use up a good chunk of his minerals. HasuObs just slowly getting chased away. GoOdy in such an overwhelmingly strong position. The Banshee alone now I think could win this. There's 9 Banshee up against 7 Stalkers and an Archon. And there's the GG. GoOdy takes game number 3, advancing 2-1 over HasuObs to face off against Hero Marine in the winner's game.